Alright guys, what's up? We are back again with the third installment of our progression series. We're talking about tier 3 progression now. This is moving towards end game. And just to begin, just kind of refresh where we left off, we just killed Octavian. And just as a little disclaimer, if you remember the last video, I talked about what I think is probably the best base location for progression in tier 2, which is right about here next to Octavian. However, if you also remember in that video, I had mentioned that I think, this location here is probably one of, if not the best location for progression for tier 3 progression. Really just anything around this area, but we're just going to reference this location right here for that. And I'm going to take this video, I'm going to actually kind of try to illustrate that to you, why I think this location is so strong, even though it seems like a very weird, like a random spot. So again, if you remember, we just killed Octavian. We are level 53. And I mentioned that the first thing I do is I ride all the way up here. I go right to Angora. And I clear her at level 53 as well. I don't get any upgrades. And I know that may seem a little daunting because she's level 60. And I know some people might find that a little bit difficult. If you do, I recommend checking out my Angora guide. I have a level 53 Angora guide here. It just shows a quick little 5-minute rundown of what I do to beat her at level 53. I'll link this in the description. And then what are the things we can look at here? So if you remember, if you know this location well, you'll know that there's a lot of silkworms, as well as scales as well, which you will need scales, a lot of scales. In fact, more scales that are in this area in order to make Dawnthorn. We'll also need silkworms potentially down the line if we're trying to upgrade our Dawnthorn into Blood Moon gear, because silkworms are used to make silk. And this is, other than, crafting spiderlings in your base, this is like one of, if not the only place you can even get silkworms. So, while you can technically ride your horse, beeline it all the way through this, all the way up, and then get right. What you do is you run up this way, you get up here, and then you run around the corner here and dodge Angora aggro, so she doesn't get angry at you, doesn't attack you, and then you park your horse right about here, and then you clear out all the spider eggs or whatever. Then you can fight her without having to fight anything in this tunnel. You can do that if you want to, but me personally, I would suggest just clearing and killing every spider, clearing every egg in this entire thing here. It takes a little while, but it's worth it in the end because you'll get scales, you'll get silkworms. So I would suggest doing that, but whatever. I'll leave it up to you. If you have a different method, go for it. So again, that's the first thing I'm doing here is I'm killing Angora. But actually, on my way up here, I ride through this ancient village. And the reason why is there's a lot of lootables in each of these buildings. The Banshees drop spectral dust, which can be useful for a future thing. You also need ghost shrooms in order to make ghost yarn. So as many ghost shrooms, there's a lot of ghost shrooms around this area. So, do that. Get all the ghost shrooms that you possibly can. Get all the lootables you possibly can. There's some iron in here if you still need that. There's some schematics. I've had a decent luck with getting recipes in here. That's probably just confirmation bias. But like the lootable boxes here, it seems like every couple of runs or so, I loot this and I get some schematics or whatever, or not schematics, recipes for tier 3. So again, probably confirmation bias, but it's worth coming through here on your way up. Then I head up here, kill Angora, and then immediately after that, we jump down here, and you have two options. So we can either go back to base immediately and say, look, I just want to get ghost yarn under, I want to start crafting ghost yarn as quickly as possible. And you can either go back to base then, but what I would suggest is taking the time to hit up the other ancient village, which again has just as much stuff, if not more, as the stuff over here. There's only 3 buildings with lootables here, but there's a ton of enemies to fight. There's also Falrod. And while, yes, we're still level 53 and he's level 62, and that's like even worse than level 60, I find him even easier. I mean, Angora's not really necessarily easy. She's a little bit tricky. But once you know what she does, it's pretty decent. It's pretty easy to deal with her. Falrod is the same thing, but I find him significantly easier. And like Angora, I also have a guide here. I do him at level 53. I'll show you, how I beat that. What I use exactly. So, the skills and weapons and everything I do. So I find him extremely easy. So I would I would probably watch that video as well if you don't think that's so easy. And that will allow you to be able to start crafting Spectral Dust as well as a Phantom's Veil, which is, as of right now, the current highest tier cape in the game. So that's pretty helpful. Also, Mistrance, pretty sick. But, limited PvP use, but I think it's pretty sick. And then, again, now I'm going to illustrate why I find that base location so strong. Is, we've just come up here, we've done our first Cursed Forest farming run, as well as clearing 2 key bosses right here at level 53. And, we have an inventory full of ancient village goods, full of silkworms and scales. Maybe we stop off over here. If you don't have enough scales to make your full Dawnthorn set, you're probably going to want to stop over here and clear a bunch of the mosquitoes and the frogs all in this area here. So now we have a bunch of scales. If you're needing to farm pristine hide, you can kill lurkers. Or you can actually, on the way up, you can wait. If it's nighttime, you can go into the village here and kind of fight all the werewolves in the werewolf village. So again, what I'm saying is, by the time you're done with this, if you're really doing an effective, efficient farming run, you've got an inventory that is absolutely stacked with goods, with mats that you're going to need for your stuff, Dawnthorn. And the way I play the game, I actually try to get every single bit of materials needed for Dawnthorn in one single run here, other than obviously Ghost Yarn, because you have to wait for that to craft and whatnot. And you'll probably end up needing to do a few more cotton runs to get everything you need for that. But in the meantime, other than that, I'm farming so much stuff in here. And then what do? Imagine if you had a base down here. It's not too far away, but also by that time, imagine you're riding up and down this little one-way right here. It can get a little dangerous. Imagine getting ganked before you get back to base here, or heaven forbid you're down here, right? I love this location in terms of in-game, but if you have to ride all the way back, that's kind of dangerous. You could run into somebody, get ganked, lose an insane inventory. But if your base is parked right here, you hop in this cave at the look. Here's the ancient village. You're done with your farming run. You've got loot coming out of your ears. You just ride over here, hop in this cave passage, and you come out right here. So you hop down and just ride across. Boom, you're home. So there's one farming run. And then what do? You immediately start getting your Dawnthorn, everything cooking. Now, in the meantime, you're probably going to need more ghost yarn, probably going to need some more cotton, while everything is starting to go with that, starting to refine with that. So there's 2 things. I would say there's probably 2 options, maybe 3 options you can do here. If you haven't killed Christina the Sun Priestess yet, because I find her extremely easy. You see her on the road walking like this all the time between Mosswick and Dawnbreak. She just walks down here a lot, just super easy to find. If you don't see her in one of these rooms or buildings, you can kind of just run and follow this road and you can find her. If you haven't killed her yet, kill her. Get a Holy Resistance Potion. So one of those options, I said 2 or 3 options here. Your 2 or 3 options would be 1, farm all the cotton you possibly can, which means you have to deal with more garlic. And the reason you need that cotton is in order to make your ghost yarn, right? You need a ton of cotton for that, or cotton yarn anyway. So that's one option. And while you're gonna have to craft some ghost yarn, you're gonna have to craft even more later on. So maybe do a farming run. Another option would be to make a Holy Resistance Potion and kill Raziel the Shepherd at level 53 in order to get the corrupted artifact in Athenium. Now you see that and you're probably like, wait, what? Raziel the Shepherd? Well, I got a guide for that too. Level 53, Raziel the Shepherd. So it may sound crazy at first. You're like, how am I even supposed to do that? That guy's insane. Really, he's not too bad. So here's another guide here. I'll post this in the description. Kill this guy at level 53. So that's another option you can do. So one thing, so for instance, you could if you haven't killed Christina, kill Christina. Get your Holy Resistance Potion. Come back, make one, come and kill Raziel the Shepherd, and then after that, do your cotton run. Come back up. Make what Dawnthorn you can. Wait for your garlic stacks to fall off. And then, and then move on over here. Or if you feel like you need to do another Cursed Forest run, you can do that. But the other option, the last option of those things, or the thing you could do after killing Raziel and those waiting for garlic and cotton, etc., etc., etc. The next step would be to come into the Sacred Silver Mine and farm silver ore. So now we are doing, I mentioned before that this is kind of like a death run here. What do I mean by that? So people who, when I say death run, you may be thinking like a death run similar to like other games, like maybe MMOs, where you die and you have to like get back to your body, revive, and then like run as far as you can, die, and get back to your body. What I mean is this whole zone here. If you're familiar with this game, specifically the end progression, this whole zone here is absolutely crawling with patrols. There's a bajillion people here. There's always just so many patrols up and down this road that come from this road and go this way and go this way. Come from this side. They walk around here. It's insane how many patrols there are. So when I say death run, I mean literally you are like running through death in this area here, and it's always risky. Like even in game, whenever you have like full sets of gear, it can be risky if you're caught out here, especially if like another vampire is riding by, because it's an extremely well traveled route in game. So if another vampire is running by and they see you knocked off a horse and dazed and you're getting shot at by 25 musketeers, they may think, ooh, easy mark, and jump off and kill you and steal your inventory. So that's what I'm referring to when I say this is a death run here. It's really just like, there's a lot of, honestly, there's a lot of skill running through this without getting shot off. The faster the horse, the better. The more you understand the timing of the musketeers, the better. If you're feeling nervous or like unsure, like, oh, I don't know if I could do that, there are a few things you can do to try to help a little bit, try to mitigate a little bit. So one thing you can do is kind of take breaks, is run through these little zones here, just trying to get off the beaten path and like not have to deal with huge patrols of people. You could also like run across the bridge, run down here. You could run over here and run up this, because while there are some patrols that go here, it's not that many. And you can also run and go up towards the teleporter if they're chasing you, and then jump off the back end, and they'll break aggro pretty much immediately there. So that's that. There's little things you can do if you're feeling like really overwhelmed with just making this run all at once. Me personally, I just usually just make the run all the way. But sometimes it's a little dangerous. I'm feeling a little like, oh man, maybe I have too many silver stacks, so my HP is dropping like crazy. I might take make little detours and take it like the long, safe route here. Obviously, you can't really go through the Harpy's Nest because that's full of Harpies. But so yeah, just to recount what I've said so far, we've done a run through here, killed the bosses, gotten ghost yarn recipes and everything, gotten some, maybe we've gotten cotton and killed Rise of the Shepherd. And the reason I say maybe is just you don't necessarily have to do this. When you come back and you start, from your first Cursed Forest run, if you want to just immediately go over to Sacred Silver Mine, you absolutely can. My preferred route for getting there is obviously just running through here, but then instead of running through the main door, while there is some silver and a lot of farmables here, it is worth doing if you want to. What I usually do is I just make a beeline for the silver, and there is a secret exit or entrance right in the back here. So you run across here, instead of taking the main entrance, you just run over here. There's 2 guards right here, and you can usually just run in, jump down over here, and then you fight your way to the enemies over here. And the reason that's kind of nice, in my opinion, is anyone who's coming through the main zone here, they're going to have to fight and take a long time to get in here. But you only have to, you're just fighting a few guys at the entrance, and then you're just fighting the people over here. And by the time you've cleared this area here and some of the stuff in this spot, like usually about this much, by the time you've gotten that much, it's very likely that you have an inventory that has so much silver that you're getting burned. If you aren't using a silver resist potion, it's likely at that point that you have enough silver that you're taking silver damage. So then you can just turn around, hop back on your horse, run back, and get the silver going right away. And the reason I think that's so important is, obviously you're going to need a lot more silver than you can carry in one run. But the earlier that you craft, you get refinement going, the better. Which is why, again, I say this location's so good for that, because it's so close to this. I mean, it's literally just you run down, run across, boom, you're there. You'll notice right here, there's a little like bridge-looking thing. This is a log. So you run across this bridge into Tier 2, you run over here, hop down, cross the log, run along the river, and you're inside your base. Very safe. Say somebody sees you and they're like, oh, there's a guy, I'm going to try to chase you, and try to chase that guy, another player. and they're chasing behind you. You know, they're trying to follow you, and you just jump off this, go there right here. A lot of times they won't even know what just happened. They're like, "Why did you just jump down? What's going on?" You just jump down here and you run over here like this, and they're like, "Wait, what? Okay, well, I didn't anticipate that, and I can't really get him anymore." And so yeah, so me personally, what I do, I know this is kind of like going over everything again, but me personally, what I do is I do the run here. I come down before I kill Raziel. I come in here and I get silver to start crafting it. After that, I absolutely come in here. I kill Raziel. I get all of this stuff going. The reason being is the corrupted artifact is a very large jump over the Scourge pendant that you get from Leandra, which is what I'm still using at this point. You get the corrupted artifact. That's a big jump. Now we're up to, I believe once you get corrupted artifact, I think that's like 8 levels or so higher than, or maybe 9 levels higher than the Scourge pendant. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's a big jump. I think it 8 or 9 levels, something like that, something along those lines. So, you know, you get the corrupted artifact, and that will allow you to feel a lot safer while you, again, if you're still needing more Dawnthorn to craft, if you're still waiting on stuff, you just throw on whatever pieces you have, throw those on. And then from there, we have one of two things we can do. Once you've thrown that stuff on, the smartest thing is probably to then come up here and take out Wilfred the Werewolf Chief. He gives Holy Resistance Flask, which is extremely important, but he also gives Heart Strike, which is one of, if not the best ults in the game. Extremely ridiculously strong ult. If you need help understanding how to beat this guy at a fairly low level at this point, usually it'll be about 60 or so. Here's me beating him at 60. Let's look at my items in this one. So I have 3 pieces of Dawnthorn at this point. I took this off so I could be at a lower level. So I have 3 pieces of Dawnthorn, the Cloak, Corrupted Artifact, and a General Soul Reaper. I'm level 60, I believe, at this point. Okay, I am level 60. Yeah, so I'm level 60, fighting him at 64. Again, this guy is terrifying if you don't know what you're doing, because he hits like a actual truck. So check this video out. It'll give you a nice guide about how to take care of him. Spider ult helps a lot. So then, you know, after we've killed Wilfred, that unlocks the Holy Resist Flask. So we are actually at that point, you know, we did that. We're actually at that point ready, if we want to take on Azariel, who you'll see here. This is with a full set of Dawnthorn, Corrupted Artifact, and then axes. I usually use axes here. I'm only using iron axes on this, but generally I would make silver. If I could have silver, I would. If not, or for merciless iron, if I could do that, I would do that as well. But it's really not that big a deal. Both of these, you can use Reapers, but I like to use axes because it actually stuns him out of one of his abilities. We go and take care of Raziel, and you'll see him. That immediately unlocks gold ingots and power surge. So, I mean, it seems crazy. It's like, wait, what? You're only level 64 or whatever, and you're already down to Zariel? Yes. A lot of times I don't even have a silver weapon at this point, and I've already killed Azariel. You know, if you know anything about this area here, all you really need is the large Holy Resist Flask. You run down here, and you jump through this hole in the wall, walk through here, you fight a couple guys here. You might have to fight some guys up this way. You know, there's obviously a paladin who roams right here, but if you really want to, you can actually kind of like run all the way up here and break leash range on a lot of guys. You may have to fight some patrols. Another method is if you have rat form, you can use rat form to try to like sneak past some of those guys, because it actually does help. But again, you can kind of run around here. You don't have to kill all the patrols if you don't want to. You come in, you sneak in here, and you take out Raziel. And now we have gold ingots. So gold ingots, if you know anything about them, extremely important for upgrades to your corrupted artifact. Power surge is, in my opinion, required for fighting the winged horror. So there we go. At that point, honestly, once you have Azariel, the only next step you have is Styx, who, he's rough. That's a very rough fight. In terms of required bosses to beat before you get to the final, the final 3, Styx, he's required in order to kill, Winged Horror. Styx is no joke. I have a guide for him too. I know I keep saying that. I have a guide for him too. He is no joke at all. So here's me beating at level 70. I do not recommend doing this. This is literally just with a silver weapon and full Dawnthorn and a corrupted artifact. really don't. I don't recommend doing this. It's really difficult because just the way the fight is. You can watch this video, you'll see what I mean. What my suggestion would be is if you are, while you're, because you're already so far ahead and you were such a low level when you're fighting these guys, just take the time to do a lot of farming runs here in Brighthaven. Get as many schematics as you need. Do more farming runs in Cursed Forest. Get as much, ghost yarn, everything. All this stuff in here. Ghost yarn, ghost rooms, spectral dust, schematics, scourge stones drop in here. You can get those. You can use your holy resist flasks and stuff. You can actually use them here in Dunley Monastery. There are coffins in here that have an extremely high likelihood of dropping extremely high stacks of scourge stones, fully formed, ready to go. And so I've played on servers that were custom servers that were like 2x servers. Obviously, it's a 2x server in terms of drop rate, loot drop rate. That's not normal, but just to give you a reference, I've had situations like that where I came in here and I literally came out with over 20 scourge stones with dropping here. So you can get an idea, like you can actually get in here and get, 10, 8 to 10 scourge stones in one little quick run. And even if you don't have a holy resistance potion, if you go quickly and intelligently, you can do it without one. You'll just come out kind of dangerous. So usually what I do when I do that, just to give you an idea, is I come in and get these two. I run over here, I think it's like over down here. I get these, or maybe right there. And then I run around, there's two on the backside here. I get those, and then I just jump off. I get out of there. I'm like, all right, see you later. Not dealing with that. And again, like I said, my base is right here. So, I mean, again, I'm showing you right now how nice this is. We talked about, some people were questioning why I don't send servants out. I don't really make servants a lot. In one of my videos, I mentioned I don't usually use servants all that much. And the reason why I said I just farm what I need, and they're like, well, hey, you're wasting your time. Honestly, if you know what you're doing in terms of farming specific things, you can get it at like almost like downtimes. Like you can only refine things so quickly. You can only refine silver and ghost yarn so quickly. So while that's refining, just do some other stuff. Like come and get some more silver, come and get some more scourge stones, etc., and then run back to base, toss them in. Now there are more things in the queue to start refining again. And so once you get that, I would recommend getting to a comfortable level for sticks. Like getting a few pieces of maybe an upgraded necklaces. I mean, that's a huge, huge bonus. That alone is probably enough to make this fight significantly easier. But maybe a couple pieces of Blood Moon or maybe a Sanguine weapon of choice. Come in here at a comfortable level, fight sticks. And we are on to the final portion of this, which is the last three bosses. So we're going to stop it there. We'll get to that the next go around. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I know it was kind of a lot, kind of a big dump. But if you have any questions or, whatever, feel free to ask. And if not, good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Later.